our lifestyle choices needs to have as little impact on the environment as possible. So what are some of the kinds of problems that we are faced with? And these problems are not limited to South Africa. They are taking place all over the world. Poverty, abuse, degradation, the use of water, the use of electrical energy, and I'm sure all of us are quite aware of this and experiencing the shortages in South Africa right now, and of course illnesses and diseases like HIV and AIDS. Now I want you to take a careful look at the next picture, and it would probably remind you of some of your experiences after you've been to a party. And then I want you to respond to a few questions which is based on the kind of lifestyle choices that people in the picture have made and the impact that they have on the environment. I'm sure you've recognized a lot in that picture and probably had some experiences yourself. But the question is, how can we use our recreational time in a more valuable way and in a way that has little impact on the environment? I think what we are going to do is plan an activity together with your classmates, and I'm going to take you through the process of how you should go about planning this recreational activity and give you an example to help you and your classmates to plan this activity, so that eventually when you come together as a group and put together a program, you would have kept in mind your lifestyle choices and the impact that you have on the environment. So firstly, you'll get into groups, perhaps 5 or 6. The first step would be then for you to think about a recreational activity that you can get your colleagues involved in while keeping in mind lifestyle choices and impact on the environment. You would then get together with your colleagues and decide amongst the 5 or the 6 of you which would be the best activity. So at the end of this task, each group would come up with an activity, and as a class you will put this together as a program. An example, item 1, let's take an example of saying that this activity is a sporting activity. That would be the contribution from group 1. Group 2, it could be a dance activity. That would be the contribution of group 2. So in this manner you would have 5 items on your program. You would have to decide as a class on a date and on a time in which you can conduct this program. Remember, we want you to be able to put your plans into action. Okay, let me help you with an example. Satya was going to meet with his friends. He wanted to set a good example of lifestyle choices that will make everyone better people with limited impact on the environment. He thought about this very carefully. No TV, no video games. It's too impersonal with very little social interaction. What about the clubs? And he thought, no visiting clubs. The environment is usually polluted with smoke, noise, and lots of negative energy which we are not really aware of. Then he thought of an idea to invite his friends over to do an activity on animal movement. Of course, he had to provide them with light refreshments. He decided that being a vegetarian, he would provide them with a vegetarian meal. His parents had given him the same amount of money that they would have given him had he gone to the movies, which is about 60 Rand. He thought about what would be most appropriate. How many people was he going to cater for? And what would be the least expensive but most nutritious and of course tasty enough? Well, this is what he had on his list. Some light coleslaw salad, cabbage, lettuce and carrot, non-egg based mayonnaise, peanuts, diced apple and banana, low GI brown bread sandwich, a can of mixed beans, and 1 liter of fresh orange juice. And of course, he considered the environment all the way through. When buying these vegetables, he took his own bag instead of buying a new plastic bag. Reusing what we have is much better and has very much less impact on the environment. After preparing the meal, the organic waste material was thrown into a compost heap. Nothing was wasted. And of course, he thought about the cans and the bottles. That would go for recycling as well. Now, it's your turn to plan a recreational activity. Keeping what Satya had done when inviting his friends over and planning to make it an enjoyable night, yet with very little impact on the environment, you need to go about planning your recreational task together. Okay, you know that assessment is an important part of the school curriculum. In this particular activity, you are asked to do some work on your own as well as together in a group. So there's some individual assessment as well as group assessment. But these are some of the criteria that you need to keep in mind when conducting your activities, because this is what your assessment will eventually be based on. Were the 3 dimensions of the environment that we had discussed earlier being considered in your plan? Was the effort on your part and on the group's part to reduce the impact on the environment? Was the activity a social, recreational activity? And what do you think the impact of the activity was on the environment? Was it low? Was it medium? Or was it very high? You would have realized that it is only in changing our behavior and making some good lifestyle choices that we will be able to contribute to our self-development without destroying the environment. In the example of Satya, we talked about recycling. But remember, this is only one of the options that we have. The first thing that you might want to think about is, how can we reduce the amount of waste that we produce in all our activities? So think about it carefully. Wasting, or not wasting rather, is better than recycling. So let's recap. What have we learned today? We've learned that we have less impact on the environment when we plan for a recreational activity. We need to consider the environment holistically, that is the natural, the social, and the economic environment. We've also learned that social recreational activities can be fun and interactive. And of course, some of the values that we've tried to bring out was, firstly, care for the environment, take a good look at your eating habits, make healthy eating choices, and of course, use your budget properly when planning your recreational activities. Well, that's all for today. The next time you decide to have friends over, the next time you decide to have a party or attend a party, think about the impact that you have on the environment and make the right choice. Until the next time, take care.
Summary: in this lesson you learned to recognize socio-environmental issues, that lifestyle choices impact on the environment, community, and society, how to plan an activity to show the impact on these areas by lifestyle choices.